Have you seen prediction videos for Pulsex, right? The DEX, the decentralized exchange that's going to go on to Pulse Chain, and how it might do? What if, what if we did an idea for where the price might be in a year, but we used actual data, right? And we didn't just use conjecture like everybody else. For those of you who are not aware, conjecture, fancy word for opinion. What if we took a look at PancakeSwap and Uniswap, and we looked at the two largest data points that we can, Google search volume and YouTube search volume, the largest search engines in the world. Thumbs up for that. And we look at those relative to Pulsex to see how Pulsex is doing. Because when, and I'm going to get into the data in a moment, when you look at price performance matches search volume. We're going to show you that in a second. So let me repeat that. If there's more searches for something, that tends to perform better with the data we have. So if we get an idea of how Pulsex is performing relative to Uniswap or relative to PancakeSwap using actual data, the billions of searches on the two largest search engines in the world, then we can get an idea of how Pulsex may perform. So, with that being said, if this is your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam, for those of you who are returning. What's good? It's great to see you. Thanks for coming back. And anybody who wants to support the channel, there's some links down below. Highly recommend you jump over to Twitter. Say what's good. Twitter link is down below. And press the bell notification and the subscribe button if you want to catch future videos like this, because I guarantee nobody else is doing videos like this. Also, share this video. If you're going to find value in this video, share this video out. We started with nomics, right? We went to the top global decentralized exchanges. We found Uniswap and PancakeSwap, $1 billion of transaction volume and $300 million of transaction volume. And 30% of all trades over the last 24 hours, I believe that is, and 1% of all trades in decentralized exchanges. So this is good data, right? This is the two largest ones, the largest one on Ethereum and the largest one on Binance Smart Chain. And we compared them on Google search volume for Pulsex. So take a look at this. We have Uniswap, PancakeSwap, Pulsex worldwide over the last 12 months on the web. Who is dominating the F out of this chart? That would be PancakeSwap. PancakeSwap is clearly winning, but what do we see over the last 6 months or so? Since the beginning of November, we see a clear downward trend in PancakeSwap and Uniswap, right? The blue line is Uniswap. We see a clear downward trend in the search interest for both of these over the last 6 months. Why could that potentially maybe be? Because we're in a bull market, in a bear market. That's why, in my opinion. Another interesting thing to take a look at is Uniswap is more popular in the United States and in China, right? China searches for Uniswap 57% of all searches versus 43% for PancakeSwap and nothing for Pulsex. In the United States, it's 62-37-1, right? So an interesting dynamic here globally. PancakeSwap dominating, obviously, we can see that in the chart here. But let's take a look at the previous 90 days, see if anything changes. Again, we just see the clear downward trend in PancakeSwap and not as clear, but definitely obvious, the downward trend in search volume for Uniswap. But in this chart, we can actually see Pulsex search volume, not anywhere near the other two. However, Pulsex is not even out Like, so you wouldn't expect it to be crazy, right? It's an idea with a test net. It's not a real thing yet. So this is kind of what you'd expect. Let's take a look at the 30 days. By the way, wait until you see the YouTube search volume. That is crazy shit. Okay, same thing here. Pulsex is not really relevant in terms of search volume relative to the two main players here. I think it's good to compare it to the main players because that's what we want it to do. If you're invested or interested in Pulsex, you want it to dominate the F out of all these other players, right? Let's take a look at YouTube, and then we'll get into the price performance on these across at the end of the video. So this is Uniswap, PancakeSwap, and Pulsex worldwide, 12 months, YouTube search volume. Whew. Now that we got that done, check out the interesting dynamic here. Look at PancakeSwap. Clear downward trend until mid-March, and then something happened. And search volume on YouTube has picked up for PancakeSwap over the last 90 days or so. That, my friends, is unique, and you guys are the only people who are seeing this. We see a clear downward trend here on Google. On YouTube, this is divergence. This is not the same thing. Very interesting. We should maybe do a separate video. Check the price of cake and see what's happened to that over the last 90 days. We can do that in a separate video. Now, interesting thing here versus over here, right? Google search, YouTube search, is that YouTube search between Uniswap and Pulsex is about the same. So let's jump into the 30 days and see what this is going to look like. Again, we see the clear upward trend at PancakeSwap, but we see Uniswap and Pulsex going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Interesting, right? Interesting. So, we're about to take a look at the price from start of PancakeSwap and start of Uniswap relative to 365 days later and see how many X's they did. Check this out. We saw here PancakeSwap dominating. We saw PancakeSwap dominating. Look at this. PancakeSwap started at 31 cents. 365 days later, it was 20 bucks. That is a 65x. 65x. Clear indicator, clearly more interest, clearly better performance. Uniswap, less volume in terms of searches, right? And this is why this is so valuable. Nobody else is doing this shit, guys. Take a second, share this video with somebody else you know in DeFi or in crypto, because nobody else is looking at this shit. Google and on YouTube, completely dominated by PancakeSwap. And also more price performance. Interesting. So, if we take a look at these on YouTube, remember YouTube over the last 90 days, Pulsex is matching Uniswap. That's just one data point. It's still not there here. It's still not there on Google search volume, right? This really needs to pick up because Google's bigger than YouTube in terms of search volume. So it's not there yet. It's just not there yet on Google. But this would seem to indicate that a 24x could be better if everything else was held ceteris paribus. That just means constant. However, the way Pulsex is actually structured is better than Uniswap is. Because, well, it's also a little fractionally cheaper, but it has an incentive created in it to drive up the price. So if we think about that, maybe a 24x, what does this represent? So if somebody had 10,000 X that they had as a sacrifice for Pulsex, or they purchased this at launch, right? And 365 days later, the performance, based upon the data we have here, if they had a 24x or a 65x, that would be about $250,000 or 650 grand. So given where we are currently at, and that we know the tokenomics, or how the fees are structured, right? A percentage of all the fees on Pulsex go to purchasing PLSX, which is the native token, and then burning it. So there's just some benevolent person just coming in and buying some Pulsex every day and just burning it. What do we know about price performance? Price goes up when there's more demand. When there's more demand, price goes up. So if you have somebody that's automatically the code that causes the price to go up, that's a better structure than Uniswap, right? I don't know. That may be the case with PancakeSwap. I don't think it is, but it could be, right? So if we said something maybe between these, so say between 250 grand and 650,000, pretty interesting. If you found value in this video, take a second and share it with somebody else trying to grow the channel. If you know somebody else in crypto, take a second, share this video with them. They'll find it helpful. Nobody else is talking about this stuff, right? This can actually be a predictor of price performance. Apparently so. I found this as I was doing the research for this video. So appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon. Peace. Don't forget to jump over to Twitter and say